most people, and if we surveyed, I bet call-in shows all over the country today. I guarantee you there are. Call us and tell us what your New Year's resolution is going to be. And we ought to have a call-in show. When they do that, they should have a call-in show a month later and ask, so call in if you have abandoned your New Year's resolutions. And they wouldn't be able to do it because the phones would be jammed. Because about 80 or 90% of New Year's resolutions are kaput by about week 3 or 4. I don't exactly know the stats. You can Google them yourself, but it's not a good track record. All right, so please don't do that. Don't just make a resolution and say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. Don't. Oh, by the way, guys, I had this for 2 years. I've been in wheelchairs basically in airports, and when I speak, I've been in chairs on the. I just haven't been able to walk for 2 years with 3 surgeries, and I got, when the only exercise you can do is lifting things to your mouth, that is a great weight gain plan. If you guys want a weight gain plan for 2022, just do what I did the last 2 years. Just zero exercise or movement and lots of food. It'll do it. I guarantee you it'll do it. It will work. Anyway, now that I've been through my last surgery, hopefully, in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, been in physical therapy and working, I have now lost, as of this morning, I have lost 12 of those pounds. Woohoo! How about that? Well, I've only got a zillion to go in 22. Anyway, if that's what people do, if they just say, oh, I'm going to make a resolution to do that, or make a resolution to have a better marriage, or make a resolution, whatever it is, it doesn't work. And here's the reason why, because if you weren't able to do it before, what's changed? Because the clock is going to change tomorrow onto a new day. It's going to say 1 instead of 31. Well, that doesn't make me any different, right? And so that's why New Year's resolutions fail. It would be like if something were broken on your car or some part didn't get installed at the factory. Okay. My wife's got a car that has a problem. And it's not that too old of a car. I think she got it earlier this year. And you go down the freeway and it's got a sounds like that when you drive down the freeway. The windshield's got some kind of, it's not sealed and it makes noise. Well, tomorrow will be New Year's Day. If she made a New Year's resolution today to not have a whistling windshield tomorrow, it ain't gonna happen because nothing happened. Nothing's different. And so that's why we repeat stuff, because we don't change. And that's why this show is dedicated to us changing in order to fight dysfunction, right? So the resolution itself won't do it. What we got to do is we got to have a plan. Now, we started, and I'm going to review this for a second. We started a couple of days ago and said, I want you to look back and I want you to get a real honest evaluation. Is your life where you want it to be in certain areas, relationally, clinically, and in your goals and performance? And I said, please do that with no guilt and no shame and no condemnation, the way that God does it. In the book of James, it says, if we need wisdom, to ask God, and he will give us wisdom to look at that. And he says he'll do it without finding fault. There's 2 kinds of dentists in the world. You go to one, they take the x-rays and go, when's the last time you were in here? Well, you hadn't been flossing? Why aren't you coming in for your regular cleans? You got 4 cavities here. That's one kind. That's a lot of fault finding. Another one kind of comes in and says, well, we got to look at your x-rays. And, there's a couple of issues here we really probably ought to address, because it's going to cause you some more problems and you're not going to be able to, eat like you want to. So let's fix this. Okay, so those are two different ways of looking at yourself. Same cavities, different lenses. One has grace, the other has judgment. So I want you to look back and just evaluate your life and don't get on your case. Okay, don't be down on yourself. God's not down on you, He wants to help you. And we need to find people around us that are not down on us, but want to help us as well. So that's the first thing I said. Then the second thing is you can't just say, oh, I want to lose weight. You got to have a clear vision of how much, by when. Is that realistic? Or financially, well, I want to improve my sales this year, income, or improve my career, or I want to find a new job, or want to get out of debt. Okay, how much? By when? Let's get specific and write it down. That's what research shows. When you get specific about goals and the vision is clear, your brain goes to work on it better, and more often are they accomplished if you've written them down. There's a lot of scientific reasons for that, but we know it's helpful. All right, instead of vague, oh yeah, I'd like to, well, that doesn't get us anywhere. Need a plan. Got to know where you want to go. Remember in Alice in Wonderland? She's running along, and she comes to a fork in the road, and the Cheshire Cat's sitting there, and he goes, or she looks up at him and goes, at the fork in the road, she goes, which way do I go? Which way do I go? He goes, well, where are you trying to get to? She goes, I don't know. He said, well, I guess it doesn't matter then, does it? See, if we don't have a vision, if you don't have clarity about where you want to go, then every day, every fork in the road, every decision, every dollar you spend, every hour that goes by, it doesn't really matter, right? In a sense, if you don't know where you're going, because those goals and those visions, that's what sets the true north. Get in an airplane at LAX and take off, and good luck on getting to New York if you hadn't set the heading, you haven't set a goal. So we talked about that a couple of days ago. Now what we're going to talk about is how we make that happen. All right, and we'll give you a couple of factors. And without these, your chances are diminished. All right, but with these, your chances are, if it's a realistic goal and it's a realistic strategy, your chances are off of the charts that this can happen. Okay, because we've already assessed on day 2, on the vision day, that probably what you're planning on absolutely is possible, because we're not picking anything that's not. We're not picking anything that's not possible. I mean, improving a marriage, yeah, that's possible. Overcoming anxiety, yep, that's possible. Happens all the time. Losing weight, yep, that's possible. Happens all the time. See, these are not impossible goals. Maybe if Elon Musk calls in and says he wants to colonize Mars, by next week, I might go, I don't know. How about overcoming a panic disorder? That one's a little more doable. But most of the stuff we're talking about, guys, we're not talking about colonizing Mars. And you know what? He believes that because he knows the physics and he knows all that. It's possible. Okay. But with stuff we're talking about here, it's been done many, many times. So it can be done, but it's got to have certain ingredients. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, first of all, I want you to choose who's going to help you. Most resolutions fail, in my view. Most resolutions fail because people decide they're going to change something and they think they're going to change it on their own. Okay? If you're going to change something, you've got to bring some people in outside of you, from outside of you, that bring a couple of big categories. Very important. Energy and intelligence. Energy and intelligence. Okay? Energy is we need people to push us. We need people to help get us motivated sometimes when we're not. We need people to go, come on, we're going, when you don't want to move. You ever seen in the movies or whatever, the soldiers in boot camp, and and they got that sergeant, just pushing them and pushing them, or they got that buddy dragging them up the hill when they run out of steam. You are going to run out of steam in whatever you're trying to do. If it's worth it, it's going to be too hard, it seems. And you need the energy of a support system and a support group and people that are modeling this for you in a buddy system. Okay, so who's going to go with you? Support, energy, push, structure, all of that. That's what a group does, what a coach does, what a mentor does, it's what a therapist does, it's what some good buddies do, it's what a growing community does together. Okay, every single, gosh, come on, guys, please hear me here. There are, I can't think of anything more documented over decades and decades in the field of psychology and in the scriptures, more than decades in the scriptures, but in the science of this, there is nothing more documented than change comes about by who you surround yourself with. That's why if we pull an addict out of through an intervention and get them into rehab, the first thing they got to do is delete all their contacts of their drug friends, right? And now they're surrounded by people getting sober. It's like that in every field, guys. Every single field. Even people that say they're going somewhere. There are people that are kind of in it and people that are in it. I remember when I was in graduate school and I was going through training and studying, you'd see people that were going to get their degrees and they were really sincere and they would become, really, really fine psychologists. But then there was this other group, they couldn't get enough of workshops and study past what was being assigned. And there was this group of people, and I remember when I found them, it was like finding life that, forget what we had to do in class and that was assigned and placements and practicums and all this. There was one group, we had extra study groups and we would drive literally. I remember there was a group of us that would drive an hour one way every Friday night to go to a supervision group that some professionals in another city held that were very well-known professionals, in the field that held this, it was a professional society every Friday night. And there was a group of us that would load up in the cars and it wasn't assigned, it wasn't required or anything, but these were people that were into it. Okay. You got to find some people that are into life change, not just into life change. I mean, it's like that spiritually, right? You can go to any church, you'll find people that go to church every week, but then you find other people that are there at it throughout the week. And you're in a small group with them, or you're having one-on-one prayer times with your prayer buddy or whatever. It's same like that. Every single field is like this. I remember when I was a competitive golfer and, we had a golf team and in high school, for example, and there were people that played and they worked on their game, but there were a few of us that are out there at 5:30 in the morning before school. There weren't any coaches, but you had that buddy. I had a couple of buddies like that. That you gotta surround yourself with people that can't not go after it. So who's your team going to be together? That's the support and the energy side. The other side, past the energy, is the intelligence. Now, there are people that I could have gone and hit practice balls with every morning who are idiots when it comes to playing golf. I don't want to be on a range with them. I want to be on a range with somebody who can look at me and say, that time when you turned away from the ball, you kind of, tilted your shoulders wrong, or I want to hit balls with somebody that knows something, and just, knows what they're doing. Remember when I played in college, Payne Stewart was on our team, and that I think it was my sophomore year mostly. We used to go hit balls together in the afternoons, and just the two of us. And I remember those times because he was one of those people that he'd hit shots and I'd hit shots, and we'd stand there and give each other feedback, and just the incredible having somebody do that with that knew what they were doing and could give you feedback like that, and just other people along the way. You don't figure this out by yourself, but you don't figure it out with people who don't know what they're doing either. You don't. You really don't. A lot of people do that. They go, I want to grow in this area, and they talk to their buddy, or they, talk to their friend over coffee. They're just giving you go find a therapist, find a professional, find a mentor who's actually done it, find a trainer, find somebody that has some wisdom. And the Bible says, pay for it. The book of Proverbs, it says, sell everything you got and buy wisdom. It's the best thing to invest in. Best thing to invest in, because it's the investment that betters you. So we got to have two things. If you want to make it better, you got to have the right people supporting you, and you got to have the right intelligence that people are bringing who know what they are doing. And you'll get there. But don't listen to just anybody's advice. And there's people that are going to run around and tell you, oh, well, here's how you get over a depression. Oh, well, here's the key to marriage. Or really? Where'd you go to medical school? I mean, everybody's got an opinion, guys. And a lot of times, if they don't get me started on this one. All right. There's so many people who have never, ever been in the growth process themselves that are giving advice in churches. They're discipling people. They're being the spiritual mentors and gurus, and they've never faced their own issues. And all they're doing is replicating denial systems and a bunch of other stuff. Jesus talked about this. When he talked about the Pharisees, they were Mr. Know-it-alls, right? They had all the wisdom, but he said, you've never entered in yourself, and you lay heavy burdens on other people who are trying to enter in, and you prohibit them from entering in. Why? Because you're in denial. And you got a lot of people out there telling people how to change their lives, but they've never had to go through it. And they don't know what they're talking about. So that's why you go to a recovery group, for example, and they give you a sponsor that's they're way down the program. They've gotten a track record of sobriety because they've had to deal with themselves. So don't just listen to any advice. Find some intelligence, and then get a plan. You want a strategy, and that strategy has got to be in the calendar as well. Okay, if you're going to get sober, you go to Celebrate Recovery, and you're going to go to how many meetings a week, and you're going to have somebody helping you, and you're going to have this, that, and the other. Or you're going to lose weight. You pick a strategy. You're going to go to Weight Watchers, for example, or some other group or whatever. A proven strategy and a plan. Are you going to improve your marriage? You're going to join a couples group, and you're going to see a therapist, and you're going to you're going to read some marriage books together, and you're going to have somebody holding you accountable of not how to gripe about your spouse, but you can be a better one. See, a lot of people will talk to their friends about their marriage, but the purpose of that relationship is mostly to gripe a lot of times instead of how can I improve? Now, I'm not saying, hear me, some of you, the step you need to take is to set some boundaries against some abuse and against some mistreatment and against some other stuff. And that's when you do go with somebody, you are griping about, I'm getting hurt. That's a good thing, because they stand with you, but they still help you to take the steps you have to help. So we need people that will focus on helping us be active to change. Now, when you have all of that and you put in accountability and you are measuring those activities, did I go to my group? Did I take my 45-minute brisk walk today? Did I do my exercises? You know, when I'm in rehab here for my knee, in the last, what's it been, 6 weeks now, I went to my therapist yesterday and she had me be accountable. Are you doing this one? Are you doing that one every day? And I said, well, actually in the last week, that one I haven't done because I've been sitting too much. And she said, you got to, you know, we got to get this. She scolded me and she sent me something, um, uh, um, an email reminder on it. She said, you got to make sure you do that one. See, somebody's got to hold us accountable, but you've got to measure the activities, not just the goal. You got to measure the activities. And then when it's not working, you got to ask, why did I do it? And fix the reason why you didn't do it. Because there is probably some reason you didn't do it. Okay, maybe you got too much to do. Maybe you got somebody around you who's not supported. Maybe, who knows? But get to the reason why you're not doing it and then get to it. All right. Okay, I really, what I was trying to say was I've been in this field of people change for a long time now, and I have seen some miracles. I have seen people that lost multiple marriages and multiple careers to addiction turn around and have decades of sobriety and decades of helping others overcome addiction. I've seen depressed people not cope with depression anymore, but not even have depression anymore. I've seen eating disorders not cope with eating disorders, but have a totally different relationship with food altogether. I've seen marriages that have been horrible, with everything possible, turn around and thrive. Now, I am not sitting here saying that's easy or that they all turn out that way. I'm just telling you it's true that it can happen. And when I have seen it happen in many, many occasions, it's because all those elements that I just described to you have been present. And when I've seen it fail, one or more of those elements is not present. So don't just go make a resolution, okay? Have it with a real audit of where you've been without guilt or shame, with a desire for a new vision, and then a plan and a strategy and the right people and the right activities and the right accountability and the right help through obstacles and continuing that path. And things can be very, very different for you as well. And that is my prayer for you.